In this video I will be taking a look at the Konqueror web browser that is also a file manager. Konqueror, or however it's supposed to be pronounced, Konqueror, is a really neat web browser. Let's see, here I have it installed, and yeah, Konqueror, if it would start. Did I click it properly? Right, so Konqueror, it's a web browser, but it also has the file manager functionality as well, which is really interesting. That is very, very interesting indeed. Like you can see here, this is the home directory. This is the home stuff. There's all the stuff. Yeah, you can see here in pictures. There's the background wallpaper that I have as a wallpaper on the desktop environment. And yeah, like it's the home folder. Yeah, I don't have anything here to show really, but you know it's working. It's a file manager, so that's pretty interesting. So basically, Konqueror alone works as a file manager. You don't need to have a separate program for a file manager if you use Konqueror. Well, the file manager functionality is quite self-evident if you've ever used a file manager. It's a pretty basic file manager. So I'm not going to be showing that anymore. What I'm going to be mainly focusing on is the web browser functionality. I'm going to go to gnu.org because it's a good website to go to. And as you can see, it's a web browser. It does web browsing stuff. And now the scrolling wheel on the mouse is a bit broken, so it doesn't always scroll properly. So you might notice how sometimes the scroll doesn't work properly. And now it's going in the right direction, at least. Anyway, yeah, right. So Konqueror, it renders basic web pages really well. It's a solid web browser. Basically, it does the functionality that a web browser should have, and it does it rather well as well. Now, where Konqueror might not be the best thing is where with the more heavier things that might not be the kind of thing that these sorts of smaller web browsers are good at. But that's only the sort of practical use case. That's not even up to the web browser, because if a website doesn't support the web browser, that's the website's problem, not the web browser's. So some heavier things and some compatible things, some specific things that are specific to some other web browsers, they might not work, but again, that's not the web browser's fault. The web browser is really good, and actually it's not like it's that bad anyway. Like, oh, it remembers my history, and it can just do like all the stuff that the web browser should do. Like, so yeah, it definitely can do all the stuff. Like, I can go to Odysee here, as you can see. Yeah, you know, it's those the stuff. So like, yeah, you know, it does actually work. It is a bit slow, perhaps. Now, Odysee is a pretty heavy website too, so I'm not surprised that it's slow on this website. But yeah, even though I'm recording this at a low frame rate, 6 frames per second, even to me the frame rate does seem quite low here. So it's perhaps not best for them online video game things that some people probably do, who knows. But I wouldn't recommend doing those things anyway, because they're probably proprietary software. But yeah, actually I don't know if people do those things. How many people play those online video games with like the web browser in the web browser? Well, who knows? But like the frame rate is not the highest here when I'm scrolling through this. But again, you know, this is a heavy website, and like it's pretty bad too. So anyway, enough with the nonsense. Let's go to api.invideos.io. Let's just click on the first one. Now let's show a proper video distribution site, or more like a proxy to one. Let's just pick something. I'll pick the first one from the top left, because I don't care to pick anything specific for the demonstration purposes. Let's see, I enable audio so that you can hear something. Now, I don't know if this will load, if there's some issue with the in videos today, or at this time rather. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. YouTube is always trying their best to block in videos, so sometimes it might not work. But I don't see why the playback shouldn't work on the web browser. I just can't think of anything that like would be a good demonstration of how the web browser works. You know, it's a web browser, like it does what it's supposed to. And yeah, I guess I don't know what that button does. Well, just go to the settings and I'll just show you all the settings and like whatever it has. Let's see if there's something interesting to show. There's a bunch of good settings and like actually these settings are quite good too. There's lots of stuff here. Let's see. There's some ability to do ad blocking, that's interesting. And one would need to manually add them here, though, so I'm not gonna do that now. I'm not gonna bother. Discord. Let's see, I don't know what that is. Proxy is good. Proxy is always good to have in a web browser because that enables something like having I2P, for instance. I could do manually specified proxy configuration. I could set 137.0.0.1 and 4444. And if I install I2P apt install, well actually that's probably not the best way to do it, but if you do I2PD, then that could be good. You should probably get the Java version perhaps, or get the I2P plus version. There's like three good I2P clients. There's like I2P, I2P plus, and I2PD. Regardless of the source that you get them from, yeah, you can just install I2P however you do it and do that. I'm not gonna do that in this video, but I'm gonna still say that you can do it. Yeah, it's something to be done. So that's good that it has proxies. Not all web browsers have proxy settings. Let's see. Clearing history. Cookies. Now this is neat. There's actually an ability in the web browser to just disable cookies outright, but it's also possible to like. There's these rules like one can have a specific website here and have a rule for it, accept or reject, ask, and like accept on the end of session. So one can specify the website here. So if there were like cookies on some website, like I don't know, I guess Odysee or something like that, I guess that's how it would work, and then like one can reject or accept when otherwise they are disabled or something like that, Default policy reject all cookies. One could have cookies enabled, but default is to reject them and then to add policy here that accepts them from some certain specified site. So that's good. There's this stuff. We can see all the cookies that are stored here. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. I can also just delete them manually like that. That's good. It's actually a pretty good set of settings, really. Like, this is pretty good. Yeah. Enable Java globally. Java, that's interesting. It's fascinating that like Java was supposed to be the thing that's used everywhere, but like JavaScript became the thing that's used everywhere. That's interesting. But yeah, once upon a time perhaps Java was the one that was supposed to be used for all the things. All things user-side code execution on the web. But I say no user-side code execution on the web is a good idea to have. It's probably better to just disable them all. Like, yeah, sure, that makes it difficult to use the web. Yeah, I realize that, but like, yeah, well, those websites are stupid. If a website requires you to execute code on your computer, that's kind of a shit website to go to. You should avoid them as much as possible. Now, there might be some extremely difficult things to do because of that, and that might be an issue, so I might want to enable some of it and try to get around that, but like at least you should like make it as good as possible, really. Now, as far as I can tell, there is no such thing like Libre.js for Konqueror as there is for the Firefox web browser. If I go to the site gnu.org/software/Libre.js. Now this is a really good extension that I like, and I like to use a Firefox-based web browser just simply only for the reason that it has this extension for it. Because this is an extension I use, so I like to use Firefox-based web browsers just for this extension alone. Because this is a good extension, you know. It blocks proprietary JavaScript, but it allows free Libre JavaScript, so that's really good. Because like proprietary software is bad and JavaScript is software, so why bother making an exception for it? I don't know what's going on here. Is this working or not? Is it the Invidious instance or what's going on there? I don't see why Konqueror wouldn't be able to play the video. That should be working just fine. Let's just try a different instance. I'll try a couple of these. Oh. I'll just click the first one. This one is blocked. Which one did I click on? Let's try that one. Mime test. I'll just click on the first one at the top. All of them are blocked. Well, it's not going. It's not. Invidious is not having a good time. YouTube is trying to block it. Let's try a different video in case that makes. Whoa, what's that? Let's try a different video just to see if it works. No, it doesn't seem like it plays for some reason, but I really don't see why it shouldn't work. It must be because of the Invidious. Yeah, it must be because of the Invidious not working. Yeah, that's not a good demonstration of the web browser. Well, I guess I should just go to those websites themselves, like Odysee. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll go to Odysee then. I'll just click on the first one at the top left again, as always. But you know, it can play videos just fine. It's a web browser that... Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. But as you can see, it does play videos just fine. I don't know if you hear it, but... Blah blah blah. I'm not endorsing that guy. I don't even know who he is. I only picked that video because it's at the top left. So yeah. So right, it does what a web browser is supposed to do. So actually Konqueror is not even a bad web browser. It's not like it's like it can't do what a web browser can do. No, the previous web browser that I made a video on, Dillo, it just outright lacks the capability to execute JavaScript. So it might be extremely difficult to use, and it might not be usable for most use cases on the web, which is very unfortunate. I am in favor of like just getting rid of things like JavaScript just completely, so it wouldn't be necessary to have it anymore. It should be possible to use the web without executing code on the, like, there shouldn't be any user-side code execution. Whatever the server does, that's up to them to decide, but the user, the viewer, the visitor to the website, there's no reason they should be required to execute code that is so stupid. And I do find it very unfortunate that people ever accepted the premise that the web should be reliant on user-side code execution. It's ridiculous, it's absurd. But unfortunately, that's the state of things. It's not the web browser's fault, you know. So, talking about the Dillo web browser that I reviewed, it's not really a review. The previous video I made on the Dillo web browser, it's not the Dillo web browser's fault that lots of websites, they use JavaScript and thus don't work. But as you can see here, gnu.org is working just fine. And the video... And the videos are playing fine. You can see that video playback works. So how come Odysee doesn't work here? How do you explain that? Because Odysee sucks, not like every other website on the internet. I'm on the World Wide Web specific, you know. The internet is not the World Wide Web. Those are very two different things. Unfortunately, people conflate those two terms so often that even I have caught that sometimes. It's very unfortunate that people say that. But who cares about that? that's not what's important right now. But like, see, Odysee doesn't work. And it should go without saying that like, well, YouTube isn't gonna work either. Look at this. Because I blocked JavaScript. Now Konqueror does have the ability to enable JavaScript like it was enabled by default, so that's good. Like if you want to use all of the JavaScript because you like using all these websites that run random software on your system. I guess F5 doesn't work for some reason. Wait, no, it does. Just needs to wait for a while. Okay. Yeah, right, it's working. Right. So yeah, it does still work. So it does have the capability. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, it's still something to talk about. Let's see. Let's see. What should I talk about? Yeah, I don't really know what like there's to say really. Like, it's a solid web browser for like what it is. I mean, unless you just have some very specific extension in mind that you want to use that only works with Firefox or something like that, then like for just basic web browser, like Konqueror is a really good option. It's a solid option. It's a very good option. In fact, it's actually a really good one because like it really has everything. Like I mentioned just earlier about how I like to use the extension Libre.js, and it only works with Firefox. So that's something I like to use because I don't think it's enough to have enable or disable JavaScript. I like to have the ability to disable proprietary JavaScript specifically. So I do think that the Libre.js extension is really good. It's definitely my favorite Firefox extension. Probably, yeah. My uBlock Origin is pretty good too, though. So I don't know which one is my favorite of the two. Both are really good because, yeah, both of them do something really useful. Yeah, I'm gonna actually, because it rejects them by default, doesn't matter if it's enabled. Let's actually test this right now. youtube.com and I'll accept. See if they get shown up here if I reload the page. Do they show up here? Do I need to refresh this? Open it again. Where was I? Yeah, I just need to reopen it. So there it is. So indeed, that is how it works. One can allow some specific site, have them rejected by default. Actually, this is really good functionality because like I've taken a look at the web browser Epiphany or GNOME Web, whichever you want to call it, and it doesn't have all these extensive functionalities. Actually, this is a really good set of options here. Yeah, that's actually a really good set of options. So Konqueror is a very good option. So if you want more of a free and open internet or something like that, I don't really know what people call that idea. I guess that's what they say. Who knows? Then like more specifically talking about like the web specifically, so the web, and you don't want to contribute so much to Google's Chromium and such things, you would like to use some options, alternatives, and Firefox is a thing, but like, yeah, here's Konqueror. Why not use Konqueror now? I'm sort of not exactly sure what exactly is going on with the web engine because like there was from somewhere I heard that there was an option to use the Blink engine that Chromium also uses with Konqueror, but another one was like some other one. Like there was, I don't remember, was it like KHTML or something? I need to look that up actually. I wonder if Konqueror or I wonder if like the Wikipedia it says something about the link. No, it's not specified there. Hey there, engines. Yeah, it's called web engine as it can be seen there. Yeah, I was in settings. So currently I have web engine installed, and that's the Chromium Blink engine. Why is it called web engine? I thought that it was called Blink. Why did I think it was called Blink? Well, it is called Blink, isn't it? It is Blink, but it's just called web engine. Maybe they renamed it at some point. Who knows? So I am using the Blink web engine, but this is not Chromium. So there's a distinction there. Chromium is a web browser, that uses Blink, or apparently it's called Web Engine. Well, who knows what the naming convention there is, but yeah, Chromium is not Blink. Blink is the engine that Chromium uses. And this is also using, Konqueror here is also using Blink. So it is using something that Google made. But it's not Chromium at least. So if you don't want to use Chromium, you can still use the Blink engine that Chromium uses. So like if that's fine with you, then yeah, Konqueror. But also as you can see here, it does say that there are other options. Oh yes, and I was also about to get to that. You can see here is a drop down menu. Now I only have one option here at the time of me recording this. Now I'm not sure how I would go about installing the other options, but as you can see, it is a drop down menu. There is a drop down menu, which does suggest that there is the possibility to switch to different engines. So there's the KHTML, Qt web engine. Well, that's just the, oh yeah, that's the same thing, because like that's, it just takes 3 lines here. Qt web engine, Chromium, it's the same thing. So yeah, Qt web engine, that's just the fork of Blink. There's KHTML and then there's WebKit. WebKit is the one that Epiphany uses, and also the proprietary software Apple's Safari uses WebKit. KHTML, now discontinued browser engine. It says here is discontinued. Well, I guess it's not used anymore. If it's discontinued. Who knows? That says it's actually quite recently discontinued. So I suppose there's still software in use out there that would have that installed. Well, okay, I imagine there could be the option for WebKit here. I wonder if I installed WebKit on the system. Well, let me actually try that just now. Now I'm just trying stuff. I'm not sure if this will work, but if I do an apt install, let's see, what if I just install the, let's see. I don't think I've ever installed the WebKit engine alone, so actually I don't know what it would be called in the repository. WebKit. I could try installing the Epiphany web browser at the same time as this Konqueror is installed, and I could try to see if, let's see. Nonsense. libwebkit gtk libwebkit. So what if I just install something like libwebkit? Might that be it? I could really just try, why not? See what happens. This is just a test installation, so it doesn't matter if I ruin things. libwebkit doesn't autocomplete. How is it called? libwebkit. I need to add the dashes and the numbers. Wait, 1.10. Ah, I have in fist. Install libwebkit. Wait, no, they are all GTK. What happened to the ones that are not GTK? Just a bit transparency. Let's see. What happened to the ones that are not? I thought that there was libw. No, I was reading something else. WP. What is that? Who knows what that is? No, I was reading something else. Maybe I should pay attention. Well, the text is so small. I need to. Let's see. Who cares? I just install the Epiphany web browser. See. Browser, that's probably it. I'll just install the Epiphany browser and see if that installs the engine. I don't know if that works. I'll just try it because I'm curious to see if that does it. Could it detect it on the system? It's possible, why not? Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Well, that's unfortunate. It doesn't detect it installed on the system. Yeah, it doesn't work. I can't change the engine. I don't know what that's about, but I suppose it's possible to use different engines. Nah, that was some nonsense. But well, I don't know how that is, but yeah, if it wasn't for the Libre.js extension I like to use with Firefox, as well as just having like the uBlock origin also is really good. I use those two extensions. This is something I could consider. Like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, and there are instances where I don't use the either of those two extensions. So like, yeah, this is definitely a competent web browser. I could definitely use this for the activities that I would use something else for. So yeah, it's something that I could consider installing and using as my main web browser. It's definitely something that could be used. Now most people don't use Libre.js, and if there are these adblock filters that I could go and find from somewhere, yeah, I just don't do these sorts of things in general, so I don't know how this is done. How did they go and investigate how this is done? I just use uBlock origin. But if this works and blocks all the advertisements, then yeah, that's good. And I could even configure I2P here. No, there seemingly doesn't seem to be any option to automatically disable history. What on earth is this? Why is this in history? Like, I have to manually clear it. It doesn't clear history. There doesn't seem to be an option to automatically clear history. Never. Smooth scrolling is annoying. Animations. Animations. I don't think I need any animations. Fonts. Blah blah blah. Maybe. Yes, this is definitely something to look into. This is definitely one of the better web browsers, and it's not Chromium. So if you wanna distance yourself from all things Google, although it does use the Blink engine, or apparently it's called Web Engine now. I thought that it was called Blink. Well, who cares about the name? Although it may be a Google thing, well, it's just a smaller component. It's better than just using the entire web browser that is Chromium or any of its derivatives. At least it's just a small component of Chromium, not just the entire Chromium. And seemingly there is the option at least to use the WebKit engine. I just don't seem to figure out how that's done. Installing Epiphany didn't work. Well, I didn't necessarily expect it to work either, but it would have been nice if it did work. If installing Epiphany would have brought the WebKit engine as like a dependency, and then this could have detected the WebKit being installed on the system. That would have been nice, but I guess it didn't work. Yeah, out of luck, but whatever, it's not a big deal. Yeah, I would need to investigate the ad blocks, how that is done, and that's something to think about. I don't know what this is. This is something weird. Web search keywords. Enable or disable web search keywords. Web search keywords allow you to quickly access or search for information online. On your hard drive. This is some KDE thing. I'm not using KDE. This is LXQT. I guess I don't need that then. Appearance, behavior, trash. What could we be talking about trash? Now I haven't taken a look at Konqueror really before. Like, I don't really know much about Konqueror. I'm really just taking a look at it, basically. But one thing I can tell from the web browser is that this is definitely a competent web browser, and this is definitely worth using. Like, I don't see any issue with like this being like the default web browser on many GNU plus Linux distributions. Yeah, this could easily be a default web browser. It's definitely capable enough. So yeah. Pixmap cache, that's interesting. Huh. But I don't know what the trash is. This is weird. Are these search engines? Yeah. That's a lot of search engines too. Yeah, that's a lot of... It searches Vimeo too. I guess it just has the ability to basically search from anywhere, really. What was that about Minecraft? What? Netcraft? Multi... something. There was no Minecraft. There was a Netcraft. Bunch of nonsense. Yeah, that's some stuff. I'll see if Quant is good. Now, one thing that... Oh wait, no it does. Earlier I couldn't couldn't open new pages with Control T, but now it does work. Okay. Well, I guess I must have done something wrong. Okay, so it does work. Control T to open a new tab. That's good. Okay, then that's good. Network folders. Bookmarks, trash. It says something about trash, but I don't know what that is. Home folder. Yeah, it's a file manager too, so that's interesting. It has the... one can just browse the file path, like, let's go to USR bin, and then there's the binaries. Yeah, the system stuff. Yeah, that's like... Yeah, it's a file manager too. It's pretty interesting. One could have Konqueror, the file manager, and a web browser. No need for separate file managers. There is a separate file manager also installed on the system. This is the PCManFM Qt version. So, if I was to compare the two, I'd say that PCManFM is definitely better because it's like it's an actually like fully featured file manager. So when it comes to like talking about file managers, then Konqueror may not be the best thing ever, but like it does the job for like all the basic things. One thing I would definitely do is, let's see if I can find the option. I don't need that. It's not on behavior. Where's the option? There. How was I not looking? I was not looking at there. That's weird. Yeah, so one thing I would definitely do is make it a single click in a file manager, because I think it's annoying when double clicks are a thing. Like, double click is stupid. Like, one doesn't need double click. Double click is like some stupid Windows thing, and like, hey, think of it this way. What is ever double clicked other than the icons in a desktop? No, in the desktop environment, the desktop wallpaper, like here, and in a file manager, the icons. What is ever double clicked? What do you ever double click? Nothing else is double clicked. This button here is not double click. Going to the... and I keep losing it. Edit preferences. This is not a double click. None of these are double clicks. Clicking on this is not a double click. That's 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 not a double click. Nothing is a double click. Why is it that people make this bizarre exception for the desktop icons? This must be a double click. This must be a double click. Why? That is so stupid. It makes no sense. Nothing else is a double click. Nothing else. I have never found anything else to be a double click. Nothing. It's like, that's like some stupid like thing that Microsoft Windows did, where like they have the double click, and then like for some reason they just spread everywhere. But like, I mean, what else is ever double clicked? Now here, of course, single click doesn't work, and I couldn't find a way. I was taking a look at this earlier, and I couldn't find a way to make it work with a single click. I think it's useless. I can't use a file manager with a double click. It just bothers me. It annoys me, really. Like, it's just stupid. Like, why do I need to double click it? Why do I need to hit it multiple times? Why is not one click enough? Like, that's some weird mental disorder nonsense where you have to keep repeating the button. You have to keep hitting the same thing. Like, what's that about? Why? Like, why is not one click enough? Why do you have to keep clicking it? That's so stupid. I think that's retarded. Like, that's stupid. Why do people do that? Double, like, it makes no sense. Like, really, why? What reason is there for it? It's just stupid. Like, people do it just because they are accustomed to it. So, of course, they want to have double click because they are used to it. They've always had a double click. But why did it ever become a thing in the first place? It's so ridiculous. Nothing else ever anywhere is double click. The only exception, the only thing that are double clicks is the icons on the desktop wallpaper and these icons on the, like, the file manager, so pictures there. Those are the only things that are double click. I think it's stupid. Look at this button here. These are not double click. Nothing else is. There's nothing that's a double click. It's just annoying. Why? Why is double click the default? How stupid is that? It's just one of those things that just happened for some reason. Launching these is not a double click. Nothing is a double click. No action ever on the computer is a double click except those two. And it's ridiculous. I mean, like, what if I had to double click this thing for it to work? Or this thing? How stupid is that to have a double click? What about here if I click home here? What if I had to double click that? It's stupid. This is not a double click. Let's see. Launching the GNOME web that I installed earlier. That's not a double click. Nothing else ever is a double click other than those things. This looks stupid on Qt. These edges are rendering in a really stupid way. Yeah, that's a GTK program. So let's get that out of the way. In this video I will be taking a look at a Qt based world. No, I don't usually dabble in the Qt world. I usually tend to prefer GTK. Yeah. But I guess LXQT is not a bad desktop environment. It's actually a pretty solid desktop environment, yeah. It's not the best thing ever, but this is not a video on the LXDE desktop environment. So let's not talk about it any further. But yeah, not having the ability to do single click is definitely unacceptable. Yeah. Dolphin. What does the Dolphin do? When did that get installed? I guess that's just installed by default with LXQT. Well, that's weird. I installed LXQT with opt install LXQT. That's how I installed it. So I guess that pulls Dolphin as a dependency as well. That's really bizarre. Why does it have two different file managers? Both of these came with the LXQT install, so that's really weird. So like this one, what the heck is this? Where do I show the information? Put that away off my site. What a useless file manager. PCman FM is at least a competent file manager. So yeah, Konqueror is not a good file manager. It does what it does. Like, it's a file manager. Like, you can do the things with it that you would wanna do, like for the most part. Like, I guess like the basic things, like the very basics. So like if you're like a very I don't know, is simple the correct term? A simple user that only does like just the basic things, like just moving around the files, the documents from one place to another, then yeah, that's fine, you know, it does what it does. Like, it's a competent enough file manager too. So like, it's not like it can't do. Well, if I just create some files. Interesting. I mean, yeah, sure, that's the basic stuff. It's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's not PCman FM, and it's not Tunar, but at least it's not whatever GNOME does. Yeah, okay, well, it's a file manager, I guess. It's decent enough. But mainly as a web browser, then yeah, like... Whoa, where am I typing? Sure, web browser, good enough, I'll recommend it. It's definitely good web browser. Sure, why not? If you don't take issue with running the Blink web engine that has ties to Google, then yeah, sure, at least it's not full on Chromium. For that you have Falcon. If you want to use a KDE implementation of Chromium, then you can have Falcon for that use case. This is Konqueror, this is not Chromium. So yeah, right. I guess there's nothing else really to this speech. No, it's not a speech. This is a video. Video and audio. Yeah, it's weird that people came to talk about like audio video content as videos. It also has an audio track. But yeah, this is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.